All right, let's dive into something really out there. We're going to explore a wild theory from the very edge of physics that tries to tackle one of the biggest mysteries of all, our own consciousness. The idea? That our entire inner world might just be a projection, a kind of hologram generated by the nuts and bolts of our brain.
So this is a real quote from a Reddit user. And this raw, almost panicked reaction wasn't caused by some personal crisis. Nope, it was caused by a concept from physics called the block universe. It's an idea so fundamentally unsettling, it can trigger some serious existential dread. And honestly, it's the perfect place for us to start. So what in the world is the block universe? Well, according to Einstein's general relativity, space-time isn't something that's happening, it's a single, four-dimensional object. The best way to think about it is like an old-school movie reel. Every single frame, your birth, you listening to me right now, every moment of your future, it all already exists on the film. The movie isn't playing, the entire thing just is, all at once. Our feeling that time is flowing is just our consciousness moving along the reel from one static frame to the next.
And that idea of a universe on film, it makes us feel trapped, for sure. But it also points to an even bigger mystery. What exactly is the thing that's actually doing the experiencing? Which brings us right to the classic problem, often called the ghost in the machine. It's the mind-body problem, and it's a question that's been stumping philosophers for centuries. How does our rich mental world just emerge from the physical stuff of the brain?
You know, the philosopher Gottfried Leibniz nailed this all the way back in 1714 with his Mill thought experiment. He said, look, imagine you could blow up a brain to be the size of a giant windmill. You could literally walk inside. You'd see all the parts whirring and pushing each other, neurons firing, chemicals flowing, the whole shebang. But where? Where in all that machinery would you actually find the feeling of joy or the subjective experience of seeing the color red?
And that right there, that's the heart of the problem. On one hand, you've got the mind. It's filled with these rich, subjective qualities. The smell of rain, the feeling of love, the taste of a good meal. And on the other hand, you have the brain, which is just a collection of objective physical processes. The two just feel completely different. They look nothing alike. So how could one possibly be the other?
This whole mismatch really boils down to two huge problems for anyone trying to explain consciousness. First, what we call the structural mismatch problem. Why does the rich world in your head look absolutely nothing like the mushy stuff in your skull? And second, the not physical problem. Why does consciousness feel so, well, non-physical? It's private, it's subjective, and it feels like something you could never ever find inside that windmill.
Okay, so we've got a massive puzzle on our hands, but what if the clue to solving it comes from a place you might not expect, from a simple hologram? Just think about a classic hologram for a second. What is it really? Well, it all starts with this flat, two-dimensional plate. If you just look at it with your naked eye, all you see are these weird, smeared out, totally unintelligible patterns etched onto the surface.
But then, you shine a laser through that 2D plate in just the right way, and bam! A full, three-dimensional image just pops into existence seemingly out of nowhere. That flat, confusing surface somehow contains all the information needed to project a rich 3D reality.
And here's the punchline. The 2D patterns on the plate and the 3D image floating in space have a massive structural mismatch. They look nothing alike. But, and this is the key, they aren't actually two different things. They're just two different descriptions of the exact same information. The mismatch is totally explainable.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, cool analogy, but here's the absolutely mind-bending part. Modern physics has discovered that this isn't just a metaphor. It seems to be a fundamental feature of our actual reality. It's like physics has a secret twin.
It's a principle called holographic duality, and it's a super powerful idea that basically says two completely different-looking descriptions of reality can be mathematically identical. It's like having a perfect dictionary that can translate flawlessly between a really complex quantum system living on a flat surface and a much simpler system that includes gravity but lives in a space with one extra dimension.
And when you use this dictionary, the translations are just wild. So, on the flat surface, you have this messy, complicated world of quantum physics with no gravity. But in the higher dimensional bulk space, that same system is described by simple high school geometry, but with gravity. On the surface, you might have two entangled particles that are mysteriously linked. In the bulk, that same link is described as a physical wormhole, a tunnel connecting 2 points in spacetime. Two radically different ways of describing the exact same coin.
Okay, deep breath. We have this absolutely wild idea from the depths of physics. So how in the world does this get us back to the mystery of the mind? Well, let's connect the dots.
This is it. This is the central idea of holographic consciousness. Let's go back to the hologram. What if all the complex, chaotic information firing across your brain's neural networks, what if that's the flat surface? And what if our rich, geometric, three-dimensional conscious experience, everything you see and feel and hear right now, is the bulk projection of that information, a completely different reality emerging from the first?
You see, if this is true, this one radical idea could elegantly solve both of our big problems. The structural mismatch problem? Solved. Of course the mind and the brain don't look alike, they're not supposed to. They're just two different descriptions of this same information. And the not physical problem? Solved. Our consciousness feels private and non-physical because it would literally exist in a real but separate bulk space that a scientist in a lab could never access or measure. It's why it feels so uniquely yours.
So where does this all leave us? What is the final question? I mean, this theory really does try to tie together some of the deepest ideas from neuroscience, philosophy, and fundamental physics.
Now I have to be super clear here. This is way out on the edge. This is highly speculative stuff. It is not proven science. But what makes it so powerful is that it offers a potential physical framework that could actually explain our deepest anti-physicalist feelings. It suggests that maybe the reason consciousness feels so mysterious and ghost-like is because we've been looking for it in the wrong dimension all along.
It's really a staggering thought when you sit with it. This idea suggests that the universe might contain these hidden, dual realities all around us. So if your entire conscious experience, your entire inner world, is a holographic projection, it forces us to ask one last, huge question. What exactly is on the other side?